Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my chats about all things real world experience with cameras. So today I'm going to talk about my favorite digital camera for simple pocketability at parties and silent use. And now I've seen these coming down in price. This is the X100T. It's only the third version, but they're up to 5 now, the V. And I think this is the best bargain right now in a digital camera. Because if you can pick up one of these for $600, it's an incredibly good 35f2 camera. It's an incredibly good setup the exact same way that, a Bresson or a Winogrand walk around with a 35mm f2 lens. You can do so much with this. And it has no sound. It's absolutely silent. None of my Nikons works absolutely silently. None of my Leicas works absolutely silently. They may get close to silent, but they're not silent. This is actually silent. It's got an electronic shutter. It doesn't have any moving parts that need to make sound, like a traditional focal plane shutter. I don't even have the top of the case anymore. It's a little dusty because I keep it out on a shelf that I can always grab it and put it in my pocket. And I think some of that's like pocket lint that ends up getting on it. But again, it doesn't matter. I'm not babying these things. I'm taking somewhat good care of them, but I'm not exactly worried about them. They have to go with me and I have to use them. And I probably don't use this as much lately because I've been shooting so much film for the photo game and for the other things that I'm working on. And I usually take the D610 Nikon when I'm going out to shoot for Roy Stryker. But I think that this is probably the best bargain right now. You could find an S or the original X100 for maybe even less. And I think those are good cameras too. But I think the T is the sweet spot right now because their prices have come down a lot. And I don't see the F coming down much. I see those for $800 or $900 on my local Craigslist. And the V has always been expensive and still is. It's still a modern, new, I guess a new release anymore. But this one, I think that if you're looking for a small camera that it will get some attention, people will come up to you and say, hey, is that an old Leica? And you're like, no, it's a modern Fuji. But if you're looking for a camera that's lightweight, it weighs way less than a Nikon D610, way less than any other SLR because it's very small. It doesn't have all of the, I guess, the mechanics of the DSLR. The lenses are much smaller, so they're much lighter. You could take this off, put a filter on. There's a filter on there, and you just keep that in your pocket. You don't even need a lens cap. I'm not the biggest fan of lens caps, and I'm not the biggest fan of cases and things like that. And this does have a thumbs-up grip. It's one of those brass thumbs-up grips, and I took off the Leica M8 that I have that I'm not using as much, and I put that on there, and I like that really solid brass grip on there. But a plastic grip works fine. In fact, I've had a plastic grip on there for most of its time. And then there's a red shutter release. I've lost a few of these. If you're at the Chateau Marmont in LA and you happen to see one of these, I was walking through the hallways of that restaurant, hotel with Mary Lee one year, and as we were walking, it fell off, and I never noticed it. And then later I noticed it was gone. So you might find one if you go over there. And I can't, again, for compared to like the Sonys and compared to like the Olympuses, none of those, for me, feels like this. Even the X Pro, they're too complicated with too many choices for lenses. This has one lens at 35 f2. This one takes away my need to go buy another lens if I see a Fuji lens come up on sale. This one doesn't have interchangeable lenses. This one just does one thing really, really well. And it's coming down in price. It might be the one for you if you're looking for a small little pocketable digital rangefinder. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks so much for my supporters. You guys help make my show keep going. I'll be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.